They came from some of the strongest armies in Europe, tall, disciplined, confident, and forged through harsh winters, cold mountains, and advanced military systems. These soldiers had trained in snow, deserts, and urban warfare. But when they stepped into the humid jungles of the Philippines for the Scout Ranger course, they entered a world where nature itself becomes the enemy. What they assumed would be another training became a reality that shook their confidence and challenged everything they believed about survival. The visiting soldiers represented a powerful mix of European military culture, Scandinavians skilled in Arctic survival, Eastern Europeans known for grit and discipline, Western Europeans trained in precision combat, and Central Europeans shaped by mountain warfare. They had crossed frozen rivers, performed chemical warfare drills, and survived harsh conditions. So many arrived confident, even skeptical. One soldier asked, half-jokingly, "We trained in -20 degrees. How hard can humid jungle training be?" He would soon discover the answer, one he would never forget. Their confidence shifted when they met the legendary Philippine Scout Rangers. These Filipino soldiers were not physically imposing, but their presence alone commanded respect. Small in stature but giants in skill, the Rangers embodied toughness earned from months living inside the jungle, surviving ambushes, counter-ambushes, extreme hunger, and exhausting patrols. Rain, heat, and fatigue were normal. The ranger instructor simply said, "Your training begins the moment you step into the jungle. The jungle decides if you pass." The Europeans laughed lightly, then quickly realized he wasn't joking. The moment they entered the rainforest, Europe's best felt overwhelmed. Humidity blasted their faces. The air was so thick it felt like steam entering their lungs. Mosquitoes attacked without mercy. Boots sank deep into mud. Vines grabbed their legs. Strange animal calls echoed everywhere. Every step demanded strength. A Scandinavian soldier whispered, sweating heavily, "This is worse than desert heat, and worse than freezing winters combined." The jungle was not simply a forest. It was a living, breathing force that challenged their every move. The Rangers taught movement techniques essential for stealth, heel-to-toe walking, shifting weight quietly, using vines for balance, and avoiding dry leaves that snap loudly. The Europeans tried to imitate them, but the jungle punished every mistake. Branches cracked. Gear clanged. Boots sank noisily. Their tall frames got caught on vines and branches. The ranger instructor observed calmly and said, "Imagine you're being hunted. Now move again." For the first time, the Europeans understood how different jungle warfare truly was. During a short break, the Europeans drank from hydration packs and purification tablets, assuming they were best prepared. But the Rangers carried nothing. Instead, one sliced into a thick vine with a bioo, and clean water began dripping out. The Europeans stared in disbelief. "Is this drinkable?" one asked. The Rangers nodded. European survival relies heavily on modern tools. Filipino survival blends instinct, ancestral knowledge, and deep understanding of nature. A German soldier said, amazed, "This is ancient knowledge, priceless." Then came the moment that nearly made some Europeans quit, the food of the jungle demonstration. A ranger reached into thick foliage and calmly pulled out a live python. The Europeans recoiled instantly. Some shouted. Others stumbled backward. The ranger explained how to identify safe animals, avoid venomous species, and prepare jungle food safely. Then he handed the python to a European volunteer whose hands trembled violently. Even soldiers who had faced combat whispered later, this was the scariest moment of the entire course. If catching food was shocking, building fire in the rainforest was even harder. In Europe, firemaking is done in snow or controlled environments. But in the Philippines, everything is soaked: wood, soil, air, and leaves. Yet the Rangers created fire with bamboo friction, inner bark fibers, and dry wood hidden inside rotten logs. The Europeans were stunned. A Polish soldier said in disbelief, "We trained in blizzards, but we've never built fire in a place where even the air feels wet." Jungle navigation proved even more mentally exhausting. In Europe, soldiers rely on GPS, maps, visible landmarks, and clean terrain. In the jungle, none of that works. GPS signals fail. Landmarks all look the same. Trails vanish after heavy rain. The sun barely touches the ground. The rangers taught them to read wind direction, river sounds, insect movements, soil density, and tree growth patterns. One European soldier admitted, "Navigation here is like solving a puzzle with no clues." When night fell, the jungle transformed into a world of fear. Strange animal calls echoed. Leaves shook suddenly. Insects screamed loudly. Reptiles crawled nearby. To Europeans used to predictable wildlife, the noise was overwhelming. Some couldn't sleep. Others felt watched. One soldier said, "I heard breathing behind me. I don't know what it was." Meanwhile, the rangers slept peacefully, completely unfazed by the chaos. This shocked the Europeans more than any obstacle. They realized experience shaped bravery more than strength. The obstacle course, known among Filipinos as a rite of toughness, pushed the Europeans to their limits. They crossed rivers, climbed vertical slopes, crawled through mud tunnels, slipped down thorny terrain, and sprinted while carrying heavy gear. Humidity drained their strength rapidly. One soldier sank into mud and struggled to escape. Another nearly fainted from heat. A third vomited from exhaustion. A ranger shouted, "This is just warm-up." The Europeans looked at one another, stunned. They were only beginning. To truly test their resilience, each European soldier underwent the infamous solo survival challenge. They were dropped alone in remote jungle sections with only a knife, a canteen, and natural materials around them. They had to build shelter, find food, source water, create fire, remain silent, avoid detection, and navigate toward extraction. It was the same test Filipino Scout Rangers complete. The Europeans fought hard, but the jungle exposed weaknesses. Still, their determination impressed even the instructors. Some Europeans managed to build surprisingly strong shelters using bamboo and leaves. Others found edible plants and small fruits. A few even trapped small animals after careful observation. But fatigue, heat, and silence wore them down. Some shelters collapsed under heavy rain. Some fires died instantly. A few became disoriented and walked in circles. The challenge wasn't only physical, mental strength mattered more. Yet despite all setbacks, each soldier pushed forward with renewed respect for the environment. When the extraction finally arrived, something unexpected happened. The European commander walked toward the Scout Ranger instructor, stood at attention, and delivered a deep, respectful salute. "Your men are exceptional," he said. "This training is on a level we could not have imagined." The Scout Ranger instructor replied humbly, "The jungle teaches us all. You came as our friends, and you survived as warriors." The moment captured the essence of military brotherhood that transcends nationality. Afterward, the Europeans shared reflections that surprised even the Filipinos. "This is the toughest environment we've ever faced," one said. Another admitted, "In Europe, we train for cold and structure, but this jungle is pure chaos." Many praised the Rangers' unmatched skill. "They are masters of this terrain," a soldier said. Their collective message was clear. The Philippine jungle reshaped their understanding of true survival and elite combat readiness. One European soldier summarized everything perfectly: "We survived mountains, snow, deserts, but the Philippine jungle humbled us the most." It wasn't the obstacles, heat, or wildlife that broke them. It was the combination of everything working together. The jungle pushed their bodies, tested their instincts, and demanded creativity. Most importantly, it destroyed any sense of superiority. For the first time, these elite troops felt like students again, learning from masters of an unfamiliar world. The European soldiers arrived strong, confident, and prepared. But the jungle cared nothing about reputation. It stripped away comfort and forced raw survival. They battled exhaustion, fear, and confusion. They learned ancient skills that technology could never replace. In the end, they gained more than new techniques. They gained humility. They discovered why Filipino warriors survive some of the harshest terrains in the world and why the Scout Rangers are respected globally for their grit and mastery. Their return to camp was emotional. Many soldiers spoke quietly among themselves, reflecting on how dramatically the experience shifted their perception. They no longer saw the Philippines as a tropical destination. It became a place of intense learning and transformation. The Rangers, who initially appeared ordinary, emerged as extraordinary mentors. The Europeans described them as calm, fearless, and deeply connected to the land. The respect between the two forces became genuine and lasting. During the closing ceremony, the Europeans received Scout Ranger patches symbolizing their participation. Though not official Ranger graduates, the gesture represented honor and friendship. Some Europeans admitted this was one of the proudest moments of their careers. They had passed through conditions far outside their comfort zone and survived challenges that tested them more than expected. The Rangers shook their hands firmly, saying, "You earned this through perseverance, not strength alone." The Europeans later shared their stories with fellow soldiers back home. They described the Philippines not as a typical training destination, but as one of the toughest and most valuable survival experiences available. Many expressed interest in sending more troops in the future. They emphasized the uniqueness of Filipino jungle warfare, its unpredictability, its rawness, and the incredible resilience required to endure it. For them, it became a badge of honor they would carry for life. Their testimonies spread across military circles in Europe, sparking curiosity. Soldiers wondered how a tropical environment could break well-trained European units so quickly. Officers became interested in adopting elements of Filipino survival into their own programs. Some even said the Scout Ranger Course should be recognized internationally as a world-class jungle school. More importantly, the experience proved that survival training isn't just about physical toughness, it's about adaptability, humility, and respect for nature. The Europeans also admitted the psychological challenge surprised them more than the physical. The jungle's darkness created illusions. The constant noise prevented rest. The thick air made breathing harder. Even silence felt dangerous. These conditions tested their mental stability. The Rangers taught them how to remain calm, listen intuitively, and trust nature rather than fear it. This mindset shift became one of the most valuable lessons they brought home. Another powerful realization came from observing how Scout Rangers worked as a team. Even in the harshest moments, they coordinated effortlessly without speaking. Small hand gestures, eye contact, and instinctive timing guided their movements. Their bond was built through shared suffering and deep trust forged by real combat. The Europeans admitted they had rarely seen such unity. It inspired them to strengthen teamwork within their own units, especially in high-stress environments. Ultimately, the Europeans left the Philippines with a new understanding of military excellence. They discovered that greatness doesn't always come from advanced equipment, large budgets, or technological superiority. Sometimes, the strongest warriors are those who master their environment using simplicity, wisdom, and raw skill. The Scout Rangers embodied this perfectly. Their training didn't just challenge the Europeans, it reshaped their definition of what true toughness looks like. And so, this story ends with a powerful truth. The European soldiers arrived as confident professionals, but departed as humbled students of the jungle. They gained respect for Filipino warriors, for the unforgiving rainforest, and for the survival traditions passed down through generations. In the heart of the Philippines, they learned that the jungle is the real teacher, and every soldier who enters becomes a student. What happened was not just unexpected, it was transformative.